What is good, everybody, and welcome to Saturday Mornings Outdoors. Thanks for coming along. My name is Paul K, and on this episode, on a suggestion from one of my friends online, Mark, on Backcountry Pipe, he wants to know what's in my deer hunting pack. Well, I'm going to go one better. The next few episodes, I'm going to be in the Hockomock Swamp, and I'm going to be full-on deer hunting with shotgun come opening day. So I'm going to show you all what I consider to be what is in my whole outfit for deer hunting. Not only in my pack, but I'm going to show, especially for the beginners. Mark is definitely not a beginner, but I want to show just for the beginners from soup to nuts what a pretty good outfit has worked out into from decades and decades of hunting deer with shotgun. This is our bow season right now. I've been hunting all bow season and pheasant hunting if you watch a few of the videos. And getting fired up for the shotgun season, no pun intended, or maybe pun intended. So stay tuned and I'll show you what my shotgun outfit for deer looks like. My name is Paul K, and welcome. Thanks, bros. So I'm gonna start off in my car. This equipment is in my car the whole big game season and all game season for that matter. You never know when it might come in handy, but it's all geared towards larger game, deer and beer and stuff like that. Rope for hauling out, drop cloth for protecting either the hood or the trunk. I put the deer in the trunk, and a canteen. Buy about 5 of these. They're cheap enough at any gun show. They're like $10 or under, and they hold water all season long. There's good fresh water in there, and that's for washing your hands after cleaning a pheasant or after gutting out a deer, and you can drink the water, but these are invaluable. That's really a great part of any assortment. And last but not least, in my car always during big game season is this. It's called a deer slayer. What it is it's significantly thick sheet of large plastic. You can get them at Sportsman's Guide. I'm not sponsored by anybody, but when I know where I'm hunting and I'm not too far in, under a mile or so, or a mile and a half, when you bust a deer or a bear or whatever you're hunting big game, this thing opens up. It unrolls, and it's just a large sheet of plastic with holes on each side. And you tie the deer onto this, and it just glides, literally. It's really slick, and it's hard, and it's heavy duty, and it glides over stumps and rocks and everything. It makes the drag out real easier. So between this and a back harness to pull the rope, I'll show you that inside. That's how I drag the deer out. That's one method I use. But these are what I have in my car, in my vehicle, either car or truck, all the time during all hunting season. And this is a staple and makes life a lot easier. Now let's go up into the rat cave. So we are in the rat cave, and let's get started. One of the first and foremost rules in hunting all around, it's the same exact one of the main rules in trapping. Just exactly right. The same exact rules as trapping. I'm not going to set my traps out unless I see sign. I'm going to see tracks or poop or runs that the critters that I want to trap. It makes no sense. I'm not going to set my trap out in the middle of nowhere and hope that a critter comes across it. I'm going to look for sign, and it's the same with deer. Deer, you want to be scouting a few weeks before the season starts, and you're looking for runs and trails and deer poop and deer rubs, and they only go from, they're nocturnal or crepuscular, it's the word is. They're nighttime creatures, and they get up in the evening, they feed all night, and they go bed down in the dusk. So basically they go from their bed to food to water to bed, unless they're pushed out by a coyote or something. And or mating season, the rut, which is right now actually. And mostly within their whole life, I've read state biologists say that they spend within 1.25 miles of where they were born their whole life. So find the sign. You're scouting and you're looking for deer sign, and that's where you want to set up. I use tree stands. I do the majority of my hunting on the ground because I like it. It's easy and it's very effective, and I probably kill most of my deer on it. That deer slayer I told you in the car, that piece of plastic, that's for when you're hunting within 1.25 miles. There's no need for me to pull this out, but I'm not going to use it this year because I'm hunting close enough to areas I know very well. But this is a deer cart, and that is in really rough areas that you can get that. Other than that, other things are 2 or 3 climbing stands that I like to use, a few as backups, and so forth. And those are all done pre-season. You find out where the deer trails are, and you either hunt above them or up 20 yards away from the trails. Sit up against a tree and don't move. That's it. Now let's get to the real meat of the video. All right, so relatively light. Basically, main thing is I use a Remington 870 pump shotgun with a rifle barrel. That's my weapon of choice. It's a pump gun. Also, it's 3 shots were allowed in this state. Hunter orange, total vest, hat, and gloves. That's by law, the hat and the vest. The gloves, it gets cold here, so, you know. And of course, mandatory for our hunting license, which is on that hat there. A good pair of boots. Mark, these are the boots that I use. I'm speaking specifically to you. They're Cabela's 16-inch canvas boots. They're trapping boots, and they are waterproof and bulletproof for the most part. Very inexpensive, and they'll last you 10 years anyway. I've never had them leak, so I don't know why they wouldn't last longer. Now for the gear itself. This is my fanny pack, and number 1 would be my knife. And I use a belt sheath, hangs down my leg, and I've been using this for 30, 40 years. I made it, and it holds my knife nice and secure for butchering and so forth. Cover sets that I carry with me is Doe and Eustace, these wafers, and Pete Ricard's Indian Bucklaw. I want to drink this stuff. This is, I swear by that. These are all going in my little pack there. Grunt tube, tree saw branch, the can, it's a Doe Bleeth, and there you go. And then now this is, remember I told you about the drag, that drag out, the deer slayer. This is a strap that goes, it fits on your shoulders, and you tie the ring to the ring, the drag rope, and this puts all the weight of the deer, rather than grabbing it by the horns and dragging it out, this puts all the weight on your shoulders. It's much easier for drag out. This is great. I forgot where I got that, probably Cabela's or something, you know. Mandatory and basic, a big heavy plastic bag. You are going to be sitting down all the time, and the ground is wet. This is absolutely, without that, you can't go hunting, unless you're going to stand up all day. But you lay that out and just sit on it. You can also probably make a shelter out of it if you're that needy of it. Of course, a lighter. And then remember I was showing you all through pheasant season the wind indicator? Well, that's exactly what that is. It's a little 35 millimeter can, wind indicator, free from God. Comes right from nature, and it's either cattail or ragweed. I forget what the technical name of it is. And of course, toilet paper. Now, and pretty much last but not least is I'm very comfortable with a compass and map. I go nowhere without my compass, and most of the time I know where I'm going, but that's useful for navigating when I don't know where I'm going. If you feel comfortable, just get a GPS system and learn how to use it. And eTrex, you know, they're a couple $100 for a good one, and a rag to wipe your hands. They're gonna get all bloody. And of course, buckshot and slugs. And take your preference what you want to use. I just mentioned in another video The strategy is with my 3 rounds, the first round in the chamber is a slug, and the second and third follow-up shots is going to be buckshot, because if you miss him with the slug, he's going to be running. So it's more logical to throw a whole bunch of rocks at him on the second shot as opposed to one slug. And this you'll see on my clothes, and that a safety pin. There's a million uses for that, mainly attaching your tag to your deer's ear if you bust them, and that's what this pen is for. If God blesses you with a deer, then you fill out and you attach the tag to the ear, and that's mandatory. That's a law. You've got to do that. And not only that, these safety pins, they kind of keep your pockets closed, and that's the layout. That's pretty much it. This is what I use. It all fits into that one fanny pack, all this very easily. And I got my boots and my vest and my shotgun, and that's it. And that's it. And I've been hunting year in and year out like that, with that. And this is my setup for deer hunting up in New England. I'm sure it's applicable to anywhere in the country, if not the world. And all this stuff has been thought through. I have had all the gadgets, the heat-sensitive infrareds, and all these gadgets. This is mainly what you need is your knife and your shotgun. That's pretty much all you really need. All the other stuff, it's accoutrements that make the hunt, easier and so forth. One other thing that I forgot to mention about the shotgun is get a sling. You'll find that if you're covering ground and it's cold out, your hands are freezing, because that's freezing. So wear gloves, but the sling just makes life pleasurable. And yeah, you probably got to screw something into the stock like that, but that sling, not only will it steady your shot if you use it for that, but carrying it, miles and tracking, especially if you blessed with a deer, it's so much easier with the sling, and it's light money for something that really works well for you. So get you a sling for your rifle or shotgun. Just to show you, simplify, all that gear has been put into my little fanny pack. That goes on my leg, that goes around my neck, and that's it. That's all you need. That's what I mean. It's light and you can move along. I'm mostly hunting on the ground, up against trees and behind bushes and stuff like that, and I have a few tree stands out, but I like hunting on the ground. It's just I don't know, it's effective for me. So, and if you remember in the pheasant vids that I was telling you about, rigor mortis will sit in on the legs, and this is what I'm talking about. So these dried, they're hard as a rock, and you get a piece of wood lengthwise, a board like that, and you mount these feet into the board, and that'll hold your bow or your arrows. And hey, I'm using everything on the critters, and this is pretty unique and very cool. When it's done right, it looks really, really cool. You put like felt around the edges where it attaches to the wood, but that's it might not be the first time you saw those. It's very old school, but I love it because it's so old school. And that would be it. That's my gear loadout, and I hope you can use a few tips here and there from that. If you're a beginner, that's pretty much all you need. That's everything. You don't need nothing else aside from that. And if you're seasoned, you might have picked up a few tips on some of the stuff that I use, and that's the loadout. I hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe. The next few videos are going to be in the Hockomock Swamp, in heaven, and deer hunting, and I've been waiting for it. This is shotgun now. Bow season's blending into shotgun now, and that's what I'll be up to. So thanks for tuning in, each and every one of you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you like this, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.